Hello, gossipers. Sharona here. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching and listening. So, I'm going to play mostly videos. I'm from Jamaica, and in Jamaica, we call it football, right? And in the US, they call it soccer. Around the world, it's football. And this is where you kick the ball with your foot, not like in the American sport football. It's where you hold the ball and throw it with your hands, things like that. So this morning I went on, Instagram, just to look around, and I saw that an incident happened. And this is not the first time I've heard of incident where football players, soccer players, especially in foreign countries like Brazil, Portugal, Spain, that the black players are usually discriminated against, racism. They face horrible racism. And when I saw this morning, I'm like, what's going on? Why is it every time soccer or football is going on, there's always some kind of bout of racism against the black players? Now, this player, his name is, I know I'm going to mess it up, but like I said, I'm going to have other people tell it. He's Madrid forward, and I think his name is Vinicius Jr. And he said that Benfica winger Gianluca Prestiani directed a racial slur at him during the Championships League match Tuesday. Now, what he's saying, that he made monkey sounds. I'm not quite sure he called him a monkey, but he said he made monkey sounds, and he went and reported. And this Prestiani is saying that that's not what was said. He mistake what he was saying while he had his shirt covering his mouth. So of course no one can hear or see what he's saying, but the players can. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to some of these videos. But again, black people, no one can answer this question. Why are black people so hated in this world? And before you talk about colonialism and this ship and that ship, we're talking about 2026 for this to be going on. And I hear people talk about the younger generation would change it. No. When you look at news and see stuff, it's young kids who are doing racial stuff, and you're like, how's the world supposed to change? Can we ever get rid of racism? Of course not. We're not dumb. We know not. But for it to be so prevalent, right, in your face, and people just don't care. Like, how can you hate someone because of the color of their skin and what social media people say, and generalize every person of that color to be that? And no one can answer that question. And hate is not a word I like to use. I despise that word. But to constantly see it, and it's not being defended, instead you're making excuses. Come on. So we're going to watch this person who's going to break down what's going on, and then you're going to see other people expressing, their disappointment that nothing is being done. And I'm going to show you a list of black soccer football players who've had it so bad in this industry. Again, mostly over in Europe, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, these places. I'm going to show you a video of a man in the crowd when all this was going on in the field, making monkey noise, and he's smiling about it. How disgusting of a person this is. Okay, let's take a look. And you see that idiot smiling, right? I don't know if Europe is the same as America. When you do something, people look them up and call them out for their stupidity, their racism. He's making monkey sounds. Oh my God.
Cristiano's a coward. He's an absolute coward because no one will ever know, only him and Vinicius Jr. For him to pull his shirt over his mouth and then now we're having to have this conversation about did it happen? Didn't it happen? His reaction, Vinicius Jr. is not going to lie with something as serious as that. When you see that moment there, you almost just feel sorry for Vinicius Jr. And then reaction from the crowd, they're giving him some. They might not know the situation, but everyone's on social media now. People know what's going on. And for him to get that abuse after he was the one who allegedly got abused, I just don't think it's right.
So Benfica, the club I've supported my whole life, just gave a disaster class in how to handle a situation like Vinicius Jr. and the racism accusations against Gianluca Prestiani. Utter embarrassment. First off, Mourinho saying all things tied to Benfica cannot be racist because our legend is a black man sounds a lot like, well, I can't be racist because I have a black friend. And I'm sorry, Jose, but there is a video of some Benfica supporters making monkey gestures from this match alone. But you invalidate and cast doubt on what Mbappe and Vinicius say happened because we have a statue of a black player, our legend, outside of our stadium. Not only did he then imply that you invite these things when you celebrate like that, which is absurd, but said, quote, there is something wrong because it happens in every stadium. Every stadium where Vinicius plays, something happens always, end quote. I mean, that's not true. The incidents have been well documented with video evidence to back up Vinicius Jr.'s claims. People have been handed stadium bans and prison sentences because of the piles of evidence, and never had Real Madrid walked off before. This was the first time, and you're implying that he is dishonest or a liar? Benfica's social media channels say in a post seen by over 20 million people now that it was impossible for Real Madrid players to hear what Prestiani said due to the distance between them, which is this, by the way, maybe 10 feet for Mbappe at the most. What's the goal here? Again, to imply that they are lying about what they heard? The only message from the club should have been that racism is not tolerated, and that it's never justified, and that they will carry out an investigation into what happened. Instead, they go low to try to muddy the waters and undermine serious claims and not treat them seriously. Shameful, embarrassing from an organization of this size, and a betrayal of the values of Benfiquistas, well, most Benfiquistas around the world.
He mentions the name of Eusebio to say that Benfica cannot be racist because the best player in the history of Benfica is Eusebio. You know what black players had to go through in the 1960s? Was he there to travel with Eusebio every away game? When he went to every place in Europe? Probably at the time, because my dad is a black person from the 1960s also who made his way. Probably at the time, the only option they had is to be quiet and to say nothing and to be above it and to be 10 times better, to get a little bit of credit and people say, actually, he's good. That's Eusebio's life, probably. And today to use his name to make a point about Vini Jr., who's actually finally in a situation where he can say something about it. There's a lot of players who play in different leagues still in Europe who don't have a voice. There's players today in Hungary, in Bulgaria, in Serbia. If something happens to them and they are black players, they have zero chance to have any kind of support. When Jose Mourinho is doing the knee slide at Old Trafford, when he goes to, because he attacked the celebration of Vini Jr., when he goes to the fans in the semi-final Inter Milan against Barcelona, and he goes in front of the Barcelona fans and does his celebration, when he plays against Sevilla with AS Roma, and in that moment he's fighting with the referees, and the referees have to go under protection, leave the country under protection after that game. In that moment, if someone was racist to Mourinho, I would have hoped that all of us would say, stop, it doesn't matter his celebration. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Hello, gossipers. So you saw that video. Hopefully I don't get striked for using these videos. You know, they're all over social media, so it's not directly from, you know, the main person. It's just what other people reposted. Anyways, I don't know how true the statement is where he said I wasn't insulting him, I was describing him. So if he was making monkey sounds, then you're describing him as a monkey, right? Somebody tell me I'm right. Anyways, gossipers, what are your thoughts? They even have black players on his team. I can't remember the name. Benfica, right? And then to use the excuse, well, we have outside our soccer stadium the black soccer player. No, it's like Cubans who come from Cuba with Celia Cruz, and they're like, oh, we no racist, Celia Cruz, Afro-Latina, we no racist, she black, we no racist. I mean, this world. Anyways, gossipers, if you're a fan of football, soccer, wherever you call it in your country, what are your thoughts on this story? It's troubling. I might not be a fan or watch it, but to constantly hear of people being discriminated just because of the color of their skin. And what even makes it worse is that Madrid, they won, right? So maybe that even pissed him off more. But still, don't bring that. And then see that idiot in the crowd making monkey sound. Do people, white people of all people, know that the evolution, the white man says the evolution of people come from apes? But because of slavery, you know, the white people don't see it that way. Anyways, I'm done. Please like, share, subscribe. Hopefully, you know, the comments explain it for you. Thank you.